Ian, I think you had the only item currently on. Do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So there was a discussion last week in Slack. Basically, we implemented a way to have the waypoint for value specified on the gateway class rather than just the gateway resource itself. And so this would allow us to choose something other than the static default for our Istio waypoint class. The other option that seems plausible would be to set it to all, which means that we could handle workload traffic right out of the box without without needing to have the user modify their gateway resource for their waypoint. So generally, I think service seems reasonable. And I believe that's sort of the direction that we were leaning, but I wanted to bring it up to the wider audience in case anyone missed it in Slack and has an opinion. All right. It seems like no one feels super strongly that it shouldn't be service, so we can go with that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Could you give a brief summary of the conversation in the Slack of why we were leaning towards service?
Oh, sure. So we had, as we were sort of defining what these features would be, wanted to come up with like a sort of a static default that's built into IstioD that would make sense for the most use cases. And so for a couple of reasons, service was chosen. One, that's most commonly how traffic is going to be addressed and what people are going to expect. And it is also probably going to be the most compatible with any like non-Istio proxies that eventually become waypoints. So it's yeah, a fairly suitable default.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Sure.
Great. So I noticed that there's still these docs that are listed in still review. Do we want to do? I mean, some of that stuff I think has already, been built in to Ambient. Should we move these out of still review? I mean, I guess maybe they're technically still waiting for sign-offs. Let's see here. Looks like the waypoint capture document is just directionally approved. Do we still want to get that fully approved? I believe it's part of 1.22, isn't it?
Yes, I think a fully approved would be nice.
So what do you think we should do to get these docs signed off? It looks like the authorization policy status is not even, doesn't even have directional approval yet.
I think the status one was not included in 122, as I understand. Is that right?
Correct. It's not implemented.
Okay. So that one we still need to discuss.
Yeah, and the label and annotation, I don't think we did anything in 122 other than like the ambient label and the use waypoint. So the existing label and annotation, I don't believe we did any effort to implement them.
Do we want to try and do these in 123?
Yeah, if there are resources available to implement them and move them forward.
Well, like I know that Keith put together that doc for things that we want to accomplish in 1.23. Jackie?
Oh, I was curious. I know we had like a drive ambient to beta doc. Is there ambient to V1 doc, or is that too soon to do that? I mean, I guess is there an equivalent doc for tracking features that need to be included for V1?
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably good to get started. I'm not aware of any doc yet.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, I guess it depends on feedback we get, but just curious if we
Yeah.
have a rough timeline on that or features we want to get in.
That's a great question. I guess we'll have to decide as a community how we want to move forward, right? As you all know, the drive ambient to beta, there's still a lot of gaps for beta because we purposefully narrow the scope of the beta. So we'll have to decide how do we want to move forward, right? Do we want to move the existing beta to GA, Jackie, like you mentioned, or do we want to focus on moving the rest of the alpha to beta, or can we do stuff in parallel? Yeah, if folks have thoughts, I think it would be good to share and then see if each contributor or at the company level can be aligned. If not, maybe we can do it in parallel. So I'm just thinking loud here. There's a lot of option paths to partial GA, full GA.
Right. Yeah, I wonder too if we want to wait for some feedback on the beta, and that might also inform like how close we think we are.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I guess we don't need to decide it right now, but probably would be good to get this capture and doc approved. Should we just bring it up with TOC to?
Yeah, for the approval of the first doc, right? The capture for
Yeah.
services and web workloads. Yeah.
Okay. Is that something, Lynn, you can bring up with the TOC to?
Yeah,
to see?
I will ping again. I think Mitch and John is also on the call, right? So I assume they heard.
Yeah, I'll try to have another look at that this week.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Anything else? All right. Call it early today.
Hey, this is Sanjeev. Sorry, I've been in and out of the community, and I just wanted to give a quick request that I'm actually doing a conference talk on multi-cluster Kubernetes networking next week at a conference, and part of that is Istio multi-cluster, of course, but it's also beyond Istio. But because I've been in and out of the community, I've sort of forgotten some of the concepts that I need to catch up on. So I might reach out to a couple of you to validate my recollection of some of the multi-cluster capabilities and alignment with Gamma and so on, and even things like multi-cluster for gateway API and so on. So just want to give you a heads up. I might reach out to a couple of you offline, and I would appreciate if you could spare a few minutes just to help me catch back up, if that's okay. I don't want to take up the team's call here. I just want to give you a heads up so that you're not surprised if I reach out to a couple of you offline,
Yeah, sounds good.
especially Mr. Howard, because he always knows everything. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Talk to you all next week.